if you're trying to drive outcomes on your business, you needed to have access to your business data. And
Yep.
so you want to start to carefully approach that. But if you can give it that context, then it's powerful. So there's a very compelling reason why you might consider Copilot, because you don't have to go off and move it off to somewhere else for the business productivity side, right? It's very common that you might have multiple models running, and Copilot integrated is for business productivity. Maybe you have a product or something that you're using Claude or OpenAI for, but I think that's a very natural choice. Go with what's natural for the user.
And based off what I've read, when the employees are using just the Copilot chat, supposedly Microsoft doesn't allow that data to leave and help the large language model. So it is supposed to be more secure. However, I'd still recommend, if you're using that and not the full company version, that you tell them to strip out the proprietary data. I'd highly recommend that. So we can have a browser extension that kind of monitors the different sites. It helps a lot for not just AI, but to help determine if maybe there's a phishing website that looks like Microsoft 365 to help prevent somebody from logging into that. But it can also help determine, hey, this is an AI page. We're going to prompt the end user, making sure that they're aware, hey, this is the company's acceptance policy for AI. Do you agree or not agree? And they can continue. So it's just warning them, hey, don't, the checklist of things to utilize AI for, and what to do, what not to do. Or you can block it completely. So it really just depends.
How many of you guys are recording your sales meetings, right? Your sales interactions with customers, getting auto transcription turned on? How many of you are then reviewing those so that you can then get notes out of that? Next steps. These are all really productive uses that saves you the burden of doing these manual tasks that life's too short for, honestly.
Absolutely. And with like Copilot, for example, with Teams meetings, utilize that pretty heavily. And, if there's a meeting you don't find that you're as productive as you want it to be, after it monitors some of your meetings, it has the transcriptions, it can actually help. It can help guide those meetings. You can put an agenda together and it can help keep you on track. So you can definitely utilize it to your benefit. I know one topic that we wanted to get into as well is how to be productive with AI. And I think the other day we spoke, you mentioned minimizing hallucinations, which I thought was a pretty awesome way to put it. What are some of your thoughts on that? How can you be productive? Like, so you mentioned Gong and mentioned with meetings. So what are some other thoughts on that?
Yeah. On hallucinations specifically, like, by the way, to the audience, looks like there was a poll that went out. So, how confident are you in adopting AI tools without compromising security? And we've got a lot of somewhat confident. I put myself as somewhat confident. It's very hard to grade yourself as very confident at this point. Do you know why? Because the game is changing every day. So I will not claim to be, and I feel like I'm in the know, but you learn something new every day. But when it comes to hallucination, I think we get into this stage where everything is AI. Everyone's excited. There's all this fluff. I was talking to teaching a bunch of U of H masters in cybersecurity students, and a question that was asked is this all just a big bubble? Is it all going to burst? Should I trust that I can use this? And I confidently told the student, look, there's the good and the bad. There was Amazon.com and there was Pets.com during the internet boom era. I love bringing that example up. Unfortunately, Pets.com did not survive. Amazon.com did. So in this era of AI, there's going to be lots of big things that happen and a lot of great ideas, but there will be successes and there will be failures. But underneath it, there is something big happening here, and it's very relevant. And so on the topic of hallucination, what I generally ask folks is use constraints and use context as a way to really provide AI a productive way for it to get to an outcome. Because do you know who else hallucinates beyond AI? Humans do. When you start riffing, like Todd, like if someone's pushing you on a topic and sometimes you put yourself on the edge and you're like, yeah, I think I heard about X, Y, and Z. And you say a couple things, right? But if you validate it, you're like, well, actually, that was kind of wrong, right? And we all do this. You could call that hallucination. It's the same thing. We make up stuff. when we live on the edge of our knowledge spaces, when we don't have context, when we don't stay constrained into the area where we're the expert, but yet we get pushed, we will riff. AI is modeling much of what humans do. And so don't put AI in that situation. Give it constraints, give it context, go do the quick wins and work your way up from the administrative burden to the little bit to the little. Don't shoot to the moon immediately. And here's the other thing is I'm putting something in the chat. You should also consider using the right large language model for the right task. There's a really good site called lmarena.ai that is constantly evaluating the latest models and it's testing it. And so it actually tells you, like, if you go to the site, you'll see for text, for this, for that, all the different scenarios. This is the best rated large language model for this task. Right now, Claude, Sonnet, it's 4.5 is actually the latest release, is the best at text type response, but it keeps changing, right? So I would encourage you guys to check it out.
But a lot of different SaaS tools are starting to get their own AI built into them versus somebody trying to reinvent the wheel and build their own. However, if you do want to build your own, that's where Microsoft Fabric can come in and help. But that could be a pretty big task. So that's one of the other reasons we kind of recommend starting with something like a Copilot. And then what other thing that I'd highly recommend is within Microsoft Entra, and we do this for all of our clients when we onboard them, but you restrict who can just enable an integration to 365. So we make it to where if somebody does, there's only a few permissions by default that they can allow a particular app to do. If anything beyond that, they have to get admin approval, because there's a lot of applications out there that might be useful for AI, where it will, if you look at all of the different permission lists whenever you're going to integrate it, it'll, for example, keep an offline copy of your entire mailbox if somebody adds that. So that can also be used maliciously.